Hello, I'm Scott, the breathing guy. I'll train you to locate, generate, activate core key energy in your physical activity. This video is club swing mechanics and it's dealing with lag time. How much lag time, preventing that face from an open position to a closed time to the ball. Great lag time is having just right before you hit the ball or right at your face is closing into the ball. That's the best. The poorest lag time is that you're about a foot, 2 feet away and your face closes to the ball. That's the poor lag time. Lag is about lagging the ability, the necessity to actually turn the face, close the face to the ball. So what creates a great lag time? How close can you get to the ball before you have to, from an open position to close on the ball, is your body, it's your footwork. And I'm going to start off by looking at the club head. How you want your club head to come down right before and close right at the ball. Okay, how do you create that? Now, every club, it has a different length. And the length determines the angle of your swing. If you want to swing up on a rotation as a driver, on a pitching wedge, it's more of a pendulum action. Now, Ben Hagen has footwork in his book, The 5 Lessons. And for a 6-iron, based on the distance here and your own height. But anyway, you want an open stance because the goal that messes up everyone's lag time is the right elbow. More swings are messed up because the right elbow not in the right position to maximize your club face coming into the ball. No lag time. If you want the most accuracy, that's the beginning, lag time will give you, and the most force permitted to going into the hands and down to the club head to strike the ball, you have to have your elbow bent. And how do you create that effect with the different clubs? That's the key element there to this whole video. And lag time is the body, not the hands. If you think the hands, it's all about the hands closing here, no, it's the body shape actually facilitates if the hand's ability to even hold the open position longer. It is not the hands themselves. And the right elbow is the key because the more you bring the elbow in, the shoulder comes up, the left shoulder comes up. If the left shoulder comes up, then you can have more lag time. In other words, you don't have to close the face before you hit the ball. Now, let me prove this to you in several ways involved. If you get your club, basically, now, Ben Hogan says it needs an open stance because the size of the shaft. So your right foot is forward. Always remember, turn the left foot out 22 degrees. And to build a great swing is always first thing, set your hips. Tilt your hips slightly forward. That way your spine is straighter. Inhale, push your belly button out a little bit. Tighten here and then pull up on your glutes just a little bit. Squeeze your, the old term says, squeeze your cheeks together. And then you hold that down. That way you can bend at the hip flexors. The last thing you need or can do if you want a good rotational force of the hips is have your hips tucked under or have an arch in your back. If you have an arch, you can't turn your hips. The greater the arch, your shoulders go past your hips. Second. But anyway, lag time. So just to prove my point, if you come down here with your elbow aside for the 6-iron and look at my face, it's all open, 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 open. And the more my shoulder comes up, the longer I can hold that open stance and then cut over. But now watch this. I have this coming down, look at my face, it's there. But as soon as my elbow goes out a little bit, look at the face close. Goes out more, close, close. So my right elbow, if it's straight, that face is closed, is already closed before I have a foot or whatever from. So all your momentum going into your club head is momentum force, not angle force, not, if you want to say the hands, it limits. The more the face closes to be front, the less hand action you have. The more it holds here, the more you can snap your hands through, your wrist crossover, more engagement in the finger ergonomics of the grip. I know. Oh, by the way, this is my concept of a great grip. So I call it the baseball swing grip. Thick at the here and thin at here, so you can use left hand, the little finger can go around, and the right hand hits the ball. It's opposite to everyone else's, but that's beside the point. But if you want great lag time, you have to begin with your body. The body determines lag time, not the hands. That's the first rule. Finding the shape of your body to permit that club face to stay open longer before you hit the ball is this whole video series about. And it's the body that does it, not the hands. So like I said, so what do? Always remember coming down, what angle do you want to bring the shaft down? See, when I say angle, I tell you, how do you want to bring the shaft? Everyone says the club head into it. And this one, it's more, not as far as round as a driver, because it's not as short. So you come down with that. 2, if you have an open stance, look at my elbow. I can put it against my body, and that gives me more stability. At least have it bent. The more you have that way, the more I can bring my left shoulder up. But if the hand comes out, my shoulder can't come up. The left shoulder position will permit the club face to be open, and you have a longer lag time before that face has to go closed. That's the key element to this whole process and the footwork to do it. But it all begins with what position for the club you're using. For example, if you're using an iron, you can test it. Make a really open stance, put your feet close together, that's the other thing. And just let your hand fall into it and see how long, and let that left shoulder come up. And then I won't go into the knee factor. The knees come into play in this too, to get the hip to the tilt of the hips. You have to bend your knees so the hips so your spine can be like this to coming through. But the key element to all your swings, most problems, I argue, is because the right elbow is away from the body, not close to the body. You're not bent, you're out far. The farther away from the body, the face of any club you have is going to be closed, coming into it. So it's pure momentum of the body. The hand action is far less. You can't use your hands to really throw force into the club head, striking the ball. And how do you make that elbow come here is where you position your feet so that it permits the elbow to come in. There's 2 problems. For example, if I did a straight stance and I'm coming down with this club, I'm going to run my elbow to the side here. As soon as my elbow hits the side, I have to turn my face because my elbow can't come through. You literally have to close and then you hit like this. Now, the other solution a lot of people do is when they come down, the right elbow goes out, and that way the elbow comes through. The key to so many messed up deal is that right elbow, can it come through your body or does it get stuck? And if it gets stuck, then you turn and you stand on your toes, you do all these gymnastic stuff to permit that club face to strike the ball square. That's the whole idea. But if you got the right footwork, you never come up on your toes, you actually drop down, you create a greater left shoulder angle, and you have a less divot. You can always tell if the lag time was good or poor is by the divot. The poorer the lag time, in other words, they open that club face open way too soon, the longer the divot. The smaller the divot, watch that left shoulder's up, that elbow's bent into it, and they just drive it through. And that it has a short divot. That's the way of judging. If you had a good lag time, not good, and then that way, the longer your elbow out here to try to get that distance you want, if you need distance, or even accuracy, it takes more effort. That's all. The more you have that lag time coming in here, the closer you are to the ball involved, the more accurate you can pinpoint striking the ball and where it's going to go. The farther, no leg time, you're just swinging through. That club moves any way, forward or backwards, you're going to be off. Or you turn too soon, just slightly coming in. It's going to the left. If you got the ball going to the left a lot, you have an open closed face going into the ball, maybe a foot or so, and it's actually closed slightly. on that. But if you got this elbow in position right, right body and hip action, it's going to go wherever you have that desired position of your body to project the force into the ball in that direction. That's what I'm bringing to your attention. Lag time is all about the body, not the hands. Don't be confused about that. The footwork itself will affect how you position your eyes, so that elbow can be bent. The farther away the elbow away, the less lag time you have, the more the face is going to be closed. That is the pros theory, and finding your, if you want to say elbow position, footwork for your elbow position to be bent is the lower body effect. This is Scott. This is Club Swing Mechanics, lag time. How do you create it? And it's shaping the body. How do you shape your footwork? How do you shape your body? How far do you put your feet apart per club? Driver's always out farther. Sure, a pitching wedge is always shorter. So there's a lot involved. Golf is a beautiful game. It is probably the most complicated, sophisticated, and individual game you can find. Given all the clubs you have to use, all the idea, and your own personal development of each club. But for a great golf swing, the better your lag time, the more you can do with your club. That is just the way it is. And you don't want the elbow out. It just kills lag time. The face is open, already closed. You're just pure momentum. Good luck. So this is Scott, the breathing guy.